Hello everybody, Caden here today with another episode of our zoo series, and today we are back on the world to get done the thing I didn't mean to, what am I talking about? The thing we said we were going to do last episode. That doesn't really make any sense, but you get what I mean. Basically, we're doing what I said we were going to do today, which is building an orangutan exhibit. And once again, I've done something completely bizarre and actually done research into what I want to do by looking at actual zoo exhibits for once. Well, I think I did that a bit for this and that. What was the other one I spent a lot of time researching? I don't remember. There was one exhibit recently I remember looking into more. Maybe it was them. I don't really remember. Anyway, anyhoozle, I'm kind of basing this off some concept art. Now, I don't know if this has actually been built yet or if this is just something they're planning to build soon. But an orangutan enclosure from, I think, the Toronto Zoo, or I don't know if there's multiple Toronto zoos, who knows. Probably some Canadians, I don't really know. Anyway, the concept art I saw for it was really cool. It's got like, I'm just gonna build like a small version of this right now, just to kind of give you guys an idea, but basically, they have these tall poles here with like these platforms at like 2 or 3 different levels, and then it's kind of like this nice grassy sloping enclosure with a rock wall at the back and a couple of trees right along the edges. And I really want to do that, but then also combine the indoor section, like shelter area, from my local zoo, which is the Phoenix Zoo, and I think that'll look really cool. Plus, I think if we do these platforms here, the fact that I'm kind of planning on doing this elevated walkway up here, so I guess more of like a bridge walkway, or what is this called? I know there's a name for them in cities, like an elevated pathway, a skywalk, something like that, basically, where they have like these elevated roads going, or pathways going along like certain areas of the city or over parks and stuff like that. But doing something like that for this East Asian area and kind of bringing that around, because I feel like that could be kind of cool if, say, that went to like here almost. So you get a pretty cool view of, like, when we get this all put together, a pretty cool view of our climbing frames. I don't know, I think that'll look pretty awesome. But yeah, that's the plan. Unfortunately, now I've got to build it and try not to get so over ambitious that I lose the will to finish this build. But I think we got some cool stuff. I'm very excited to build this, so let's see what I can come up with. All right, I've made a fair amount of progress here. We've got an exhibit laid out. Now you might be like, oh, this is a fairly small exhibit. Well, that's because I spawned in an orangutan just to kind of see what we were dealing with. Now, I believe it's from the same mod the chimps are, which I want to say would be Untamed Wilds, but I'm not really sure. Suffice to say, they're the exact same size as the chimpanzees, so they're not very big animals in this mod. So we don't need an absolutely massive enclosure, which is somewhat nice, but also somewhat unfortunate. Anyway, that's kind of why the exhibit isn't huge. But I think we're gonna have tons of space to do some cool stuff with, and obviously we got a fair amount of outline. However, what I spent most of my time working on is this, our shelter, which we started last episode, and I think it's looking really cool. We got this cool entrance, we got the interior, which is looking really cool in my opinion. We got the viewing area for the orangutans and the gorillas. Both of them have their own, I guess, private sections. This is the one for the orangutans, and then of course the one for the gorillas. But yeah, I think it looks really cool. I really like the style of this. I think it's turned out pretty well. I'm having a bit of issue trying to get some natural light into these. This one, I'm kind of going with a bit of a tower design. I think I might put some like proper windows back here somewhere. That way there's a bit more light coming in. And I'm not really sure what we're doing here yet. I might do a similar design to that, I guess. I'm not really sure. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. It's certainly an interesting project, to say the least. I am encountering a few issues here. I had to redesign a lot of this to try and get the, I don't know, because I wanted the interior to be concrete, because I felt like that looked a bit more shelter-like. But then, you know, trying to get this wood paneling fitting in and all that, so that way it looked good. Also having to reshape things so that way I don't know, it just wasn't a mess. It's still a mess, not as big of one though. And then as for the exhibit itself, I think it's gonna turn out okay. I just gotta figure out some of the parameters here, how this is gonna work with some of the other builds. I'm not sure if it's gonna work with the elevated pathway anymore though, mostly because it ended up going far more to the side than I think I was expecting it to, because I was originally gonna make it go this direction, but the problem with that is then that kind of limits the space that this pathway coming out here can go, and I realized I'm probably gonna want another exhibit like right back here or right over here, and if this goes too far this direction, that's gonna make that way more difficult, and I don't want a super long stretch of path over here with nothing there. So yeah, that's kind of what we're dealing with right now. It's somewhat of a difficult build process, but we're getting through it. We're figuring out how this is all gonna work, which is surprisingly difficult, but maybe that isn't all that surprising. It is a bit of a weird build, I'll be honest. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this so far. I think this is gonna be a pretty cool build overall. Also, actually, if I can just get, we'll just use this for right now. I want to do like these really tall viewing areas. Oh wait, I forgot this is going behind because I was gonna double layer this for some reason. I don't really know why, but I had some kind of grand ideas for the viewing area on this. Because since we're gonna have these really tall climbing platforms, hopefully, I figured you probably want a really large viewing area so you get that vertical height in it. Especially since the interior of the build will not give you any extra views of that really. So I was considering actually, maybe putting another viewing area back here somewhere, maybe like right here, I guess. So I guess we could just kind of like, I guess this would be a good way to put it. So just something like this, that way there's more of an area for people to kind of see what's going on. Also, if you're wondering what this was, this was kind of where I was like, if I'm gonna do this elevated platform, or elevated walkway, it's gonna have to come over here, which maybe it will. We'll find out when we start working on that project, but this could be okay. We'll see what happens with all of this. I've got a lot of work obviously to do, and we'll figure out what really ends up working well and what doesn't. Hopefully most of this works out pretty well. But yeah, I was thinking like it'd be kind of cool, just to quickly demonstrate, I guess, to do something like this, because I think the other cool thing about doing a viewing area with this much verticality to it is that it's going to stand out pretty well, because we don't have any other viewing areas, I think at least, where there's really that much height to it. I think at least. I'm trying to remember if I've done anything else this tall. I mean, maybe some of the the snow leopards, they have a cool one, but they don't really have a tall one. I guess that's probably the tallest viewing area we've done, but I think this will look pretty cool. Hopefully being the key words. But yeah, I'm gonna get back to work, hopefully tinker around with this a bit more, figure out what I'm doing, and yeah, we'll go from there. Okay, so I've done a lot more work. And once again, instead of working on the exhibit and spending all the time here and making it look amazing, I got distracted with another building, and this one, I'm gonna be real, I'm not really sure how well it turned out. So I really like this, and I think as I've kind of worked a bit more on it, so we're like kind of getting the ceiling in and texturing up the floor for the interior of this and getting all the stuff in here, I think this is really coming together well, looking super cool. The viewing area, however, I am not super sure on it. I think it looks cool. I don't know if it fits or looks good enough, but yeah, I guess I'll let you guys be the judge on that. So if you guys want to give your opinion on it, feel free to. I think it looks decent enough for what I need it to do, but I don't know. It might be either over the top or, well, I mean, yeah, it's a bit over the top for sure. I don't know. I think it could be interesting at least. It definitely has enough height to kind of distinguish itself from this building and that. And the rock work around it, so I guess it kind of works. I don't know. It's weird. I am trying to figure out right now what I'm doing with this. Because part of me is thinking we're gonna just like steal some blocks from over here. Probably just this palisade, in fact, and quickly go around and just place some palisade fences. I was gonna do, because I can't really figure out how I do fences for this build, in a way, just because, you know, it's a big ape, you know, it's especially not only that, but orangutans are pretty good climbers, so, yeah, no, that leads that creates its own issues for keeping these guys in. So what probably will have to happen is I'll have to put a railing over the top of this, but I mean, I was kind of planning on doing that anyway. But yeah, I think I will just do the palisades for now. It'll kind of at least reduce visibility to the rest of the, into like the maintenance areas, the utility stuff from our viewing area. So, you know, you're not going to be seeing all the behind the scenes stuff and the things you're not supposed to see, aka the areas I leave completely open because I don't bother to go back and fill it in later when that eventually happens and whatnot. But I think this will look okay. And we don't need to put a gate in here either, which is kind of nice since we have our mega shelter, which is going to have, I think, right in here somewhere. I'll just kind of create a little outline. This probably isn't what it'll look like in the end, but a little staff entrance back there. So, you know, there's no staff entrances anywhere else in the build, which I think kind of makes sense. Because with smart, large animals like this, you probably want, or at least not only that, smart, large animals that have the ability to use tools. You probably want more than one door they have to get through to escape. I don't know. I might be wrong, but that's my logic here. Is I feel like that would be something you would want, but who knows? Maybe that's not what people would want to do with an exhibit like this. I think it is, but who knows? Let's check from down here how that looks. I think that actually looks okay. Does it need a railing? Probably. Do I want to build one right now? Not overly. Oh, I also need to figure out what we're doing for... I might just actually use the jungle logs, since we've actually already been using a ton of jungle wood. I feel like it would kind of be consistent to use this. The question is, do I want to do... I think... Well, I'm trying to think. If I was doing this with a more properly scaled orangutan, I think I would do a 2x2, but I think since it's a lot smaller, I can kind of get away with a 1 wide pole. And I think we'll do, actually we should move this one further back by a few blocks. And then we can create a third pole right there. And then probably take some andesite and just kind of put that at the base, so that way it looks like they've probably got a bit more of a like secured foundation. And we will take out some smooth stone slabs. Again, just kind of trying to create that illusion of, you know, these being securely held in place by like concrete and stuff, so that way it doesn't fall over and cause lots of issues, as now our orangutans have a very easy way to get out. Which is not usually something you want, you know? Believe it or not, you generally don't want the animals to have like a super easy way out. I think we're just gonna do kind of like this for right now, and we'll go from here and figure out how all this is meant to not only let them get up, although maybe I won't even really make it so they can get onto this necessarily, but just spawn some on top. Oh yeah, no, this is how I should do it. Not like that, this, because that is not going to be as cool looking. We can instead create platforms like that. Yeah, I think that might look a bit cooler. Kind of, yeah, that kind of like off-kilter. These almost kind of look like those like cat climbing frames, which is kind of funny. And we'll try and do these ones on a bit more of a diagonal, and then we can bring this along that. But I am kind of thinking now, since I know the orangutans aren't actually going to be able to climb up this, and I don't really want to build a ton of slab walkways up and down, it might be better to just spawn some in and then create some like little rope bridges. But I'll figure that out when I get there, I guess. But that's not terrible. Let's see from the viewing area. That's actually pretty good. Yeah, I think that's all right. Not bad. All right, we are back, and we're gonna end the episode here because I am dramatically running out of time to get this up today. So, yeah, anyway, we've got the plants done, and it looks spectacular. I think this exhibit really came together pretty well. Like, I mean, I thought it was gonna turn out okay, but I think with the plant life, and especially from the viewing area, I mean, whew, just looks fantastic. Absolutely amazing. I think we did a pretty good job. Also, I think the height of basically the climbing platforms being the tallest things in the exhibit kind of help, because it gives it a bit more verticality that it probably needed, that you couldn't really do with trees, because, as I will quickly go over again, although I may have cut that out, so I guess maybe this is the first time you guys will hear it. Anyway, we do have trees and obviously tall bamboo in this exhibit, and in fact, the bamboo is very close to all the ways out. The reason I don't think that's an issue is because, at least in real life, orangutans are pretty heavy. I mean, they can climb, yes, but they're big, heavy apes. So bamboo probably isn't going to support them super well, and hypothetically, neither would these trees. Like, we're just going to assume here that these are trees that would be too weak for them to realistically climb on and get to the top of to be able to get anywhere else. Hypothetically, at least. That's the plan. That's the thought. Are there probably some gaps in that logic? Yeah, probably. Do I care right now? Not overly. Plus, I think it's okay. I mean, the exhibits overall have turned out pretty well. As for the interiors here, I've still got a bit of work I gotta do on them, mostly on the gorilla side. I still don't really know what I'm gonna do with it, so kind of figuring that out. Over on the orangutan side, we got a roof in now, and that's looking pretty good. We got a bit more light coming in here. I blocked off the private area of their housing, just because, again, don't really know what I want to do with that yet, so I'm not really gonna do it right now when I'm kind of running out of time once again. But yeah, I think overall this has turned out pretty well and should definitely help transition us into the next couple of Asiatic enclosures for things like our pandas, yaks, the Javan rhino, or the Sumatran rhino, an Indian rhino, and I don't know, whatever else I decide to throw in here. But yeah, anyway, let's spawn in a couple of these guys. Like I said, they are about the same size as the chimpanzees. So I've probably put too many in that would be to what would be realistic, but I mean, they are absolutely tiny. They are actually the same size as the chimpanzees, and they make the exact same noise as well. But they look all right. They look all right, and it is kind of cool to see them up there, up on the top of those platforms. So yeah, we'll see. If I can find a better orangutan, or I don't know, some other mod adds one in that we already have, I might switch these guys out for a better model that looks a bit more interesting. But I think for the most part, this looks okay. It's certainly all right, and that's really all we need. They just need to look passable as orangutans, and they do, even if they're just orange chimpanzees. But yeah, that is the exhibit for today. I think this has turned out pretty good overall. It turned out a lot better than I was kind of expecting it to, which is always a bonus when some of these builds aren't always I don't know, some of them start off pretty rocky, and I think this is one that certainly did, but I think it definitely turned out pretty good in the end. But anyway, that is all for today. I hope you guys have all enjoyed. Hope you guys are looking forward to next episode when we hopefully get something else really cool in. I don't really know what that'll be yet, but I'm sure it'll be something interesting. And until then, guys, see ya.